name is Nicole Montemayor. My professor's name is Charles Chuck Taylor. I'm in English Creative Writing 235-504, and I attend Texas A&M University in College Station. Today I'll be reading two poems. The first is titled Isle of Dogs by Chase Twitchell. In the first cage, a hunk of raw flesh. No, it was alive, but skinned. Or its back was skinned. The knobs of the spine poked through the bluish meat. It was a pit bull, held by the shelter, for evidence until the case could come to trial. Then they'd put him down. The dog. Not the human whose cruelty lived on in the brindled body, unmoving except for the enemy eyes. Not for adoption, said the sign. All the other cages held adoptable pets. The manic yapers, sad matted mongrels, the dumb, slobbering, abandoned ones, the sick, the shaved, the scratching, the wounded and terrified, the lost. One to a cage, their water dishes overturned, their shit tracked around. On both sides of the long, echoey concrete aisle, clank of chain metal mesh gates, the attendant hosing down the gutters with his headphones on, half dancing to the song in his head. I'd come for kittens. There were none. So I stood in front of the pit bull's quivering carcass, its long-drawn death, its untouched food, its incurable hatred of my species, until the man with the hose touched my arm and steered me away, shaking his head in a way that said, "Don't look. Leave him alone. I don't know why either." That was my first poem. Now I'm reading my second poem, titled The Wrestler's Heart by Gary Selko. I had no choice but to shave my hair and wrestle. 30 guys humping one another on a mat. I didn't like high school. There were no classes in archaeology, and the girls were too much like flowers to bother with them. My brother, I think, was a hippie, and my sister, I know, was the runner-up queen of the Latin American Club. When I saw her in the cafeteria, waved, and said things like, "Debbie, is it your turn to do the dishes tonight?" she would smile and make real scary eyes. When I saw my brother in his long hair and sissy bell-bottom pants, he would look through me at a little snotty piece of gum on the ground. Neither of them liked me, so I sided with the wrestling coach, the same person who taught you how to drive. But first there was wrestling young dudes, in a steamy room, and Coach with his silver whistle, his clipboard, his pencil behind his clipped ear. I was no good. Everyone was better than me. Everyone was larger in the showers, their cocks like heavy wrenches, their hair like the scribbling of a mad child. I would lather as best as I could to hide what I didn't have, then walk home in the dark. When we wrestled, Madeira High, I was pinned in 12 seconds. My mom threw me a half stick of gum from the bleachers. She shouted, "It's juicy fruit!" And I just looked at her. I looked at the 3 spectators, all crushing cornets, their faces like punched in paper bags. We lost that night. The next day in biology, I chewed my half stick of gum of juicy fruit. "Do it later," he turned on the projector. A funnel of silver light that showed motes of dust. The 6 seconds of car wreck from different angles. The narrator with the wrestler's haircut came on. His face was thick, like a canned ham, sliding onto a platter. He held up a black tennis shoe. He said, "The boy who wore this sneaker is dead." 2 girls cried. 3 boys laughed. Coach smiled and slapped the clipboard against his leg, kind of hard. With 1 year of wrestling behind me, I barely peeked, but thought, 6 seconds for the kid with the sneakers, 12 seconds for Bloodworth to throw me on my back. tough luck in half the time. The end.